Hello and a very good morning. My name is Roy Shepherd. This is EANM TV. We are live on our second day. Seeing some very tired faces coming in, but very early, very keen. And talking about early and keen, I've been joined by newly elected board members who are going to tell us a little bit about what their roles are, what they're going to be. We have Michel Koole. A very good morning to you, Michel.
Thank you.
We also have Val Lewington. Good morning, Val. And also Felix Mottaghy. Good morning, Felix.
Good morning.
Right, let's start with you, Felix. What is your current role and what is your role going to be?
Currently, I'm the Internals Group Officer, so it's an IGO, as it is
What is
abbreviated.
internal groups?
Internal groups, we have different internal groups. There used to be the committees, so we only committees. We have committees and councils, and these are our volunteers. So organized in different settings. So on the one side, looking into the research aspects, on the other side into more overarching topics.
Right, this is your initial role, but you're heading towards greatness. So you're president-elect, so tell us what the timeline is.
Well, greatness is a great word. So I think, I will first be president-elect, and so in this setting, learn even more what we are doing in our board. So I think we have, what I witnessed the last 2 years, we have done a great job in really moving towards a new EANM structure, the EANM 3.0, which is something I'm really happy to be part of, and we learned a lot, and I hope that I can further also deliver my aspects into this new.
Right, without going into the detail of EANM 3.0, give us an overview of how it will be different and why it's good for EANM.
Well, what we learned in the beginning was that we had a lot of committees, but not as well structured as we are trying to do it right now.
But what's the benefit of a structure?
So the benefit is that we are right now in a way more future-proofed, so we can really use the valuable efforts of all our volunteers, not only for scientific content, but also for further, or even political aspects that are always important, or interaction at the EU level that are important also for our countries that are members of our association.
So it's basically streamlining. Val, you've been involved over quite a number of years now, and Felix was saying that, talking about volunteers, I mean, you're all volunteers.
Yeah.
Why do you bother?
Oh, what a good question. So I think working within the EANM's very much a two-way street. We expect a lot of the volunteer army who support the board and support the whole organisation. But in return, anyone who works within the EANM is going to have a significant career boost.
In what way? You don't just join and then you automatically improve your career?
No, I think the soft skills you pick up working within an organisation like this, communication, negotiation, networking, teamwork, the whole thing, you can't quantify how valuable that is. And I think that anybody who's on a career trajectory, it will significantly enhance their career because of all those things they've picked up.
But here's the tension, isn't it? When you're starting out in your career, I mean, your workload is insane. Yeah. So why add something else into it which is not mandatory? I mean, obviously, as you're all getting older, you haven't got much to do, and how do you fit it all in is my question.
Yes, so it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really tough to juggle, but God, it's worth it. Yeah. For what it really is a two-way street. What you get back from the organisation, from everything else you pick up, pays huge dividends over the longer term.
Now, ethics is a subject that's very close to your heart. In your role, what do you want to achieve as the ethics chair?
I'm not going to be the ethics chair. I'm going to take over from Felix as the IGO.
Internal groups,
yes. Yeah.
But you have been.
So so currently I've kept my toe firmly in the door of the EANM by working with Wolfram Knapp on the Ethics Council, and I think it's essential for an organisation like this to be able to demonstrate transparency, probity, and to project that to the outside world so that everybody knows what the standards of the EANM are and how rigorously they're upheld.
So why is the subject of ethics something that you need to talk about? Because I would imagine that a group of thousands of professionals would just automatically do it.
Yes, you would. But there are some tensions that can creep in sometimes that people aren't even aware of. And I think giving some guidance about standards of behaviour that the organisation would expect and that all your colleagues, and particularly your patients, would expect, it's very useful to be able to have that as a benchmark for the future, so that people know exactly what they're getting when they are liaising with you.
All right, Michel, if I can turn to you, this is obviously a scientific organisation. Research, data and science is absolutely key to most of the presentations here. You're currently the scientific liaison officer. What are your roles?
Yeah, so basically this means that I'm engaging with all the stakeholders, and these can be stakeholders at the EU level, so with the Commission. We also are engaging with other societies, try to share our vision or viewpoint, and to make sure that we speak with one voice, to be heard also, and also with patients. So we also try to engage with patients. So
I mean, the problem with science, as a non-scientist myself, is there are so many different aspects to it.
yeah.
How much of your work is bringing it all together? Because I know from having met so many scientists that sometimes you don't always agree on everything.
No, indeed, and also like with nuclear medicine, it's inherently multidisciplinary. So we have the radiopharmacies, yes, and fast moving also. So I think also that's one of the nicest things of the Congress here, is that we bring together these different disciplines in nuclear medicine, and we try to get them to work together as good as possible, also to try to move forward also. So
what do you think have been the biggest achievements in your role over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think mostly engaging with the EU institutions there, especially with the Commission, try to get nuclear medicine on the agenda. Also try that the decision makers at EU level, that you understand what nuclear medicine is about, so that the decisions that are made are not doing wrong to nuclear medicine, so that they are really supporting us in moving forward, that patients have access to radionuclides, that these radionuclides are made available also, that we have a supply of radioisotopes, because we need the radioisotopes to make the radiopharmaceuticals. Also that the regulation is supportive. We know that we are working with radioactivity, so there should be some regulation, but we should not try to over-regularize things, you know, and that is sometimes at the cost of the patient, at the cost of the availability of treatments and things like that.
I mean, I've talked about the issues around policy and about regulation. EU regulation is sometimes seen as being overly regulated because they want to look after the patient perhaps too much, and in the past they haven't always listened to the experts.
Yeah.
How do you feel that relationship is changing or has changed over the last few years? Because EANM made a strategic decision, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, to be proactive about engaging with the EU.
Yeah, so basically we are still on the good side. I think that the regulation is still at our side. And there was a revision of the pharma legislation, which is quite important, because that basically defines how we should work with radiopharmaceuticals. We tried to make some changes to the draft version, so we were invited to revise the draft version. Unfortunately, our voice was not heard, but essentially the pharma legislation is still on the good side, so to speak. So it will not be, so it will not hinder us with the use of radiopharmaceuticals.
All right, so linking then the regulation and trust and ethics, how do you work together in order to create an environment where people with power, we're talking about the EU, actually do want to engage with you, Val?
I think the messaging needs to be very clear.
Yes.
It needs to be absolutely consistent between all the members of the board on behalf of the wider organisation. And coming back to the ethics side of things, being able to demonstrate that we uphold the higher standards of transparency and of good practice is absolutely essential to build confidence amongst the regulators that this is an organisation that's worth dealing with, I think.
Yeah. And also, so of course, all the personnel that is working with radioactivity, we need to make sure that they can do this in a safe circumstances. But of course, on the other hand, we have to look at the patients and try to provide them with the therapies that they need. So there's always a kind of a balance between like trying to move forward as fast as possible, but also to try to do it in a safe way also. Like,
see, that is the problem, is that you want to be innovative. It is fast moving anyway,
yeah.
and the regulatory issues are by definition
lagging
bound
behind.
to lag
Yes,
behind,
indeed. So
they?
yeah.
So talking of the future, Felix, if I can turn to you, what is your focus going to be in the next 2 to 3 years as you move into the leadership position?
Well, I think it is important that we really keep on catching up with what we are right now doing. So we
it's
should,
difficult enough for all of you.
Yeah, so we should not just lean back and wait what is going to happen, but we need to move on. And I think we are in a good move at the moment, at a good way to do it. And what we should do is not only focusing on these new aspects of regulation and so on, we are also, and that is one of the aspects we have really started this year or also already last year, it's looking into the young generation. So we really
the next generation
need to reach out to the next generation and get them involved. And that's something we are trying, and what I would really like to further enhance all these activities we have in this direction.
Well, funnily enough, I'm going to be moderating a session at lunchtime today here in the reception area, in the Wall of Fame area, about this very thing, the importance of volunteering. So is there any key message that you'd like to end with today?
Well, I think they should realize that's a lot of fun to get involved, to have connections, to have the networking with other colleagues, to look across the whole variety we have in our community. So we are a very diverse specialty with not only physicians, but we have physicists, we have chemists, we have technicians, biologists. So this is an opportunity. If you're really going into this voluntary work, you have all these kind of different approaches, different kind of backgrounds within the volunteers, and that's a great chance to get involved.
What would you add, Val? I mean, that was quite comprehensive.
Yeah. Honestly, joining the therapy committee as a trainee was the best move I ever made.
Were you aware of why it was a good one?
Absolutely not. I was just so lucky to have been given the opportunity, and so I'm on a mission to make the next generation, all the ones coming through, actually see what they could get from it, how it's going to help them, how it's going to benefit their careers, how it's going to help their patients, and just the sky's the limit, frankly. Aim high is the message I want to put across to them.
And it will benefit EANM, of course. So it's not just a selfish thing, right? Yes. Yeah. What would you say as a final
I would
word?
just say, don't think, just do it.
Brilliant. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much indeed for joining me this time of the morning. I know you've got a long day ahead with loads and loads of lectures and stuff. So thank you very much. Have a great day. And I'll see you around soon. Okay. That's it from EANM TV for this morning. I'll be back a little bit later on. Join us at the Wall of Fame at 1 o'clock today for that volunteer meeting I just mentioned. And we'll be back live on air at 5:15 this afternoon.